Welcome to the VET S.O.S podcast. Remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the VET S.O.S lifeline. VET S.O.S is brought to you by the Who You Know Network and our proud members of the Parade Deck community. We can now be heard on recent across America Radio. I don't know why I couldn't get that out. On Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern, you can find Reese across America Radio on iHeart, Odyssey, and TuneIn apps. Today we have Jon Jerome, president of H.E.R.O.E.S, with us on the show. He is doing some amazing things for our community. Can't wait to jump into this conversation and hear about what they're doing and how they do it. It's a pretty cool organization and what they have going on. Keith, got you riding shotgun again today, brother. How you doing?
Living the dream, brother. It's good to be here as always. So appreciated to be a part of this program.
We are glad to have you. So let's jump right into this. Jon has been affiliated with H.E.R.O.E.S Care since 2004. H.E.R.O.E.S Care is a national organization dedicated to serving our troops, the families they leave behind, and our wounded warriors. He served as a volunteer and director of development before taking on the responsibility of president in January of 2007. He has never served in the military, but was moved to find a way to contribute in the wake of 9/11. Through his efforts and those of the volunteers, the needs of hundreds of thousands of military families have been met. Among the ways that he has helped those who serve the nation include the distribution of thousands of care packages, hundreds of thousands of cards and letters from caring groups and individuals, and the organizations of morale events, food pantries, and direct financial aid to families in crisis. Great to have you with us today, Jon. How you doing?
Well, it's wonderful to be here. Get our story told to those that need to hear it.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so let's jump into this first. Having not served in the military, what led you to being president of basically a veteran support organization?
Well, the whole thing got started back in 2003. I was watching the invasion of Iraq, and my 3-year-old and 11-year-old daughter decided they wanted to send a care package. So, having no knowledge of what a care package was or anything, Dad was told that you're going to figure it out. We did. The first run was 13 of the ugliest boxes you ever have seen in your life. Still got pictures of it. But we got them down range, and we started getting letters back about what it meant to get these things, especially from strangers, and how they didn't have toothbrushes and toothpaste, and this stuff wasn't given to them, which I thought they did. My whole background before this with the military consisted of seeing a John Wayne movie. That's how I thought things worked. So we said we'd do it again. We did 35. Got done with that. Was sitting on my deck going, okay, God, thank you for the opportunity. Done my part for the war effort, going back to my life. And I got a little tap on the shoulder. Says, no, I was teaching you how to do this. Now we're going to do 1,000. On September 11, 2004, we shipped 1,000 care packages. It was 4.5 tons.
Wow.
And we shipped it for free.
Oof.
If I told you how I pulled that one off, I'd have to kill both of you. Sorry. Donor rules.
I can appreciate that as the intel guy in the group.
So when we did that, I had one of the officers' wives from over at Scott came over, and we formed another charity, and we grew that into around 23, 26 independent chapters across the country. And their model didn't quite meet with what we were doing. From 2004 to 2007, our mission was during a deployment, if the car broke down, plumbing backed up, spouse was supposed to call us, and we'd write a check and fix it. And what I found out very quickly was we were doing it our way, not their way. So in 2007, we managed to get 3 other charities to partner with us. And in that, we created the H.E.R.O.E.S Care Network. Now, H.E.R.O.E.S Care stands for the Home Front Enabling Relationships, Opportunity, Empowerment Through Support. And what we did was we created 647 outposts in 25 states and trained over 3,300 volunteers. And when a service member would deploy, especially our Guard and Reserve, we would attach one of our volunteers to the spouse, and they would check in on them every week. And they would vent at my person. In doing so, we'd find out those little things that were bothering them. The brakes were squeaking, the washing machine wasn't working. And we would fix it when it became a small problem. Fix it in infancy, and we would solve a lot of problems with the stress levels, all of the other things, and our service members responded to that because they knew somebody had their back. Somebody was actually taking care of their wife and family back home. And that volunteer stayed with the service member or the spouse for the year of the deployment and 2 years afterwards.
Oh, wow.
Holy cow.
That's huge. I mean, because that whole transition back in and all that from the service member standpoint is not easy on the family. And two, who knows what the service member is still dealing with or going through. So being there for the spouse and the family after the fact for 2 years is just tremendous, John.
And what we found was that we had built up that trust. And the volunteers that we had were civilians. A lot of them were not military. So people kept telling me that civilians and military, they don't interact well. They don't understand the language. Well, when our volunteers have lived with them for a year and became best friends, when the service member returning would come back with driving a little bit different than they normally do, sitting with their back to the, where they don't sit with their back to the door, all these little idiosyncrasies that they come back with, which were learned behaviors. It wasn't something that was PTSD. They were learned behaviors for survival. And the spouses, we taught them that those are normal. The ones that were not normal, our partner charity Give an Hour provided the free mental health for us in the town without having to be reported to the military.
Wow. That's awesome. Holy cow.
So our success, we had 2,850 of these the service members' spouses that we were attached to. Of those 2,850, 38 of them said that the returning veterans said that they would commit suicide. They were planning on committing suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Of the 38, all 38 are still with us.
Awesome.
Our fastest response time was 14 minutes from the time that they said that they were going to commit suicide to the time that they were talking to their mental health professional. And we had over 450 families take free marriage counseling upon return.
Wow.
Of the 2,850, we know of no losses.
That is amazing.
That's an
the program works.
Yeah. And that's such an amazing statistic. I want to go back to even just the fact that you guys recognize the support for the family members back home. Because everybody, well, not everybody, but most people, they think of the troops, right? And the care packages, and we forget about the families back home, and they don't realize that even the troops downrange, like, we're more worried about our families back home more often than not. So, and I remember seeing it happen firsthand. I deployed and my wife had some support systems built in with friends that weren't military, especially, but like, just to give a quick plug and shout out to one of my former employees, Wells Fargo. They actually had a program where if a spouse deployed, the spouse, or service member deployed and the spouse back home was working for Wells Fargo, we actually had a program where we'd come mow your lawn for you, like just one less thing that spouse has to worry about while their service member is deployed. And I thought, and I was a branch manager, and then I had several spouses because I'm in a military community working for me, and it was such an alleviation of stress and just the simple thing of cutting somebody's grass for them.
It's more not the cutting of the grass; it's that I'm not alone.
Exactly. Yeah, the community. Yep.
It's the community came around them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to talk about herding cats, this was 647 churches.
That's awesome.
So it was an adventure. And then from there, we transitioned with the downsizing of the military and the National Guard and Reserves, not on that every other year deployment. Men's Warehouse Joseph A. Banks, has been providing us a truckload of suits every month for the past 10 years.
Wow.
So we would do job fairs around the country with our partner, with our partner organizations, Boeing and Ameren and all these other different groups. And it was to entice the service member to come get a free suit. If I said, Hey, come and get a brand new $600-800 suit. Would you come and get it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't tell you it's a job fair. When you come to get your suit,
switch.
when you come and get your suit, we then, we have our escorts that are saying, hey, have you ever thought of working at Boeing? And they go, Boeing would never talk to me. I'd never get a chance. I put in an application and I never heard anything back. Well, let me go introduce you to the manager, the HR manager. And we just walk them over to their tent. The last one we did here in St. Louis was 480 veterans and active duty military. Boeing got 23 applicants, hired one veteran on the spot. And nice. St. Louis County Police got 13 applications and hired one spouse on the spot.
Nice.
What we were teaching the HR managers is don't have your people say, go to the website, put in an application, I'll call you. Because my veterans won't do it. It's like, I've heard that story before. I never got the phone call. Thank you very much. But what we taught them was, if you're interested in the veteran, take down their phone number, take down their name, take down their email address. On Monday morning, call them and say, hey, I was on the website. I was looking for your application. I didn't see it. What would you guys do?
Go upload it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yep.
So we have to find this new dynamic of how can we creatively support the military without doing the same things over and over that aren't working. Yeah. So what we've created here in St. Louis is what we call the Mission Depot. Amazon gives us anywhere from 20 to 60 pallets a week.
Wow.
They're returned item, discontinued, all these different things, the cleaning supplies and all of this. And we were lucky enough to lease a building. It's half of a Kmart. So we have, with all of the donors that we have from around the country, we've created what we call the Mission Depot. And it's every 2 to 3 months, the veteran gets to come in and shop for free. And they walk out with about $700 worth of stuff they would buy every day. So you have a food pantry for non-perishables. We have cleaning supplies, bedroom items, lawn and garden. We have automotive. I have one aisle that's called the man cave. It's everything that goes. We get tools in. We get
power tools. Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, all of us, the tapes and the glues and everything that you want in your workshop, but you just go, I'm not going to spend $5 on it. So we have that aisle. So the veteran gets to come in and shop, and they get to pick out whatever they want. It isn't like a food pantry or where I'm giving you something and it's this is what you get. So it gives them that dignity of being able to shop. But while they're here, we have financial assistance and budget classes. We have the veteran service officer to file their benefits. We have the employment, free legal, free haircuts, and this month we're putting in mental health.
Wow.
Once we have the veteran comfortable and they know, I had, when we first opened, one of our Vietnam vets that I was escorting out, I was just joking around with him. And he said, okay, I'm waiting to hit the timeshare. He goes, I'm not walking out of here with this stuff without there being some hook.
A catch. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I said, no, this is our thank you. And he came back in a couple times. And I met him again. I said, hey, have you talked with Carolyn, our veteran service officer? He's like, no, I'm disabled vet, 100% disabled Vietnam. I'm doing good. He walked in. I said, well, just go say hi to her. So he walked in, said hi, comes walking out with his biggest grin on his face. And I'm like, okay, what did you find out? He goes, nobody told me I could file my Social Security disability at the same time I'm getting my VA disability. Nobody told me that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all of these different things that is, you don't know what you don't know, or, hey, I'm not going to go through the headaches of, going through and trying to get a disability, where we have the veteran service officer right here on site that'll do it for you, or at least tell you don't qualify.
Yeah.
So we often refer to one-stop shop. This is truly a one-stop shop. This is like the Walmart of veteran affairs.
Right?
For 20 years, everybody's been talking about it, and we just wanted to create it. We wanted to make it really happen and make it an adventure. There's one guy I was talking to, and I said, "So, hey, when did you serve?" And he says, "Well, I'm World War II vet." And I'm like, "No, you are not. You're not old enough to be a World War II vet." He says, "I'm 97 years old." He comes in and volunteers once a week now.
Wow. Love it. Absolutely love it. And so you only have the one mission, right?
Right now, we're working on funding to bring it to 6 more additional states.
Okay.
So we're looking at how do we expand the model. Some people paid attention to what we were doing and wanted it in their state. So we're looking at piloting it into 6 other states. We're working with some of those National Guard units to do those what we call wellness checks for the National Guard even before they're deployed. So once a month, twice a week, twice a month, you get a phone call just to say, "How you doing, sir?" And then you got a place to vent. And if there is something like that's out of the way, the refrigerator or something's wrong, you'll be able to, by simply using our software, H.E.R.O.E.S, that volunteer is going to be able to connect directly to us. And the next day, that service member will get a phone call.
Oh, wow. Well, tell us more about H.E.R.O.E.S.
H.E.R.O.E.S is a dream. We got some one investor to put up the money, and we actually created the software that I've wanted to have for the past 20 years. Basically, in simple terms, your charity does what you do, right? And in your profile page of your charity, you're going to say, "These are the services that I provide. These are the zip codes I provide. These are my minimum criterias." Then when my case manager is looking for a food pantry, all she'll click in is food pantry, search, and your food pantry will come up. He's already pre-qualified by the way he's answered the questions in the application. It takes those application questions, matches it to your profile, and says he pre-qualifies for your food pantry. She will then click an engage button, and we are sharing our file with you. He doesn't have to apply with you. If for some reason you're not able to help him for whatever reason, you just type a note that says, "Sorry, we're not unable to help him at this time." As soon as you hit save, my case manager sees it, clicks on food, and goes to the next person on the list and clicks engage. So especially with like our VFW and American Legion posts, it's so hard to get contact within their organization because we'll leave a message at the bar and it's the bartender that gets it, but it never gets to the person that really does the case management. In this case, it electronically goes directly to his phone.
Now, is that only in St. Louis or is this nationwide?
We're going to be bringing it nationwide.
Okay.
Again, we're going to pilot it here because we have all the connections, and then as it expands, it's going to be just a nationwide ability. So my dream has always been that the cluster, and I won't use the term, that I walked into in 2003, our service members in the next war won't have to go through that same thing. We have a legitimate program set up, so all they have to do is apply once, and we can find the resources, whether they're military charity or civilian charity that does the same thing.
That's awesome.
Is there anything you
that's going to
don't
be huge,
do?
Keith.
That's what I can't think of any boxes you haven't checked yet. Like, my gosh, like it's just you are like the ultimate bait and switch master. But I love the timeshare comment because I'm like the fact that this is no catch. And it's like, oh, we're going to draw you in with a free suit and then we're going to force a job on you. Oh, darn. Like, what in the world? Like, darn it,
for good.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, this is awesome. And So I'm just kind of trying to wrap my head around it. Like, I mean, how do folks like get tied into this thing? Like, so it's in St. Louis, and you said it's in 6 other states currently.
Well, we're going to be piloting
Okay.
it next year, and we're
Gotcha,
just looking for the funding. We just put in for the grant
Okay.
to do it, and with that authorization, then we're going to start bringing that to, and then we'll hub it out of here, so that all of the stores have all kind of the same feeling to it.
Gee, yeah, this is awesome. Yeah. What if I may ask, what states? Is Virginia one of those states?
I think it's Connecticut, Indiana, Arkansas, Kansas, and I think Alabama.
Okay, I got some ties to Kansas. That's cool too. So yeah, no, this is absolutely awesome stuff.
If there's a service member that's out there that needs help, they can apply with us at any time. We've paid out over $1.5 million in cash grants to struggling military families. And through our great donations of what we call in-kind donors, we've distributed over $300 million worth of donated products.
Wow.
So we have everything from Michael Kors, Coach, Kate Spade, Joseph A. Banks, Ralph Lauren, Polo. It's all brand new items that we give away. And American Eagle, their stores are now donating through us. So we have just pallets and pallets and pallets of American Eagle clothing that, they can come in and get 5 pairs of blue jeans and it's free.
Wow.
That is truly awesome. The other thing that we kind of, like, you're open to all veterans, correct?
Correct.
So, but it seems like there's a soft spot and a direct intention for the National Guard that you guys are doing, and we kind of glossed over that. I mean, that's kind of big because there aren't a whole lot of organizations that really, I would say, focus on that as much. So, what led you to that? Is it because you're in St. Louis, or?
Yeah, in the beginning, we had Fort Leonard Wood.
Mm-hmm.
Was a training base. That's where you do all your basic training. It's one of the 3 or 4 bases you do basic at. There you go.
Lost in the Woods?
Yeah, we're lost in the woods. Yeah. And we had to be creative with the way that we helped them. So when a service member would try for an AER loan, they weren't able to get the AER loan for their car because they had to have their car insurance. So we would pay the car insurance, and then you'd be able to get the loan. You have Whiteman and Scott Air Force Base are the other 2, and that's Air Force. So we won't go into that. But, they have their own way of doing things. And where our latch was the National Guards, who were the redheaded stepchildren of the military. And back then, they didn't have a seat at the Joint Chiefs of Staff, but they were being deployed every other year. Mm-hmm. So that's where we wrapped our hands around their problems. And then, as Fort Leonard Wood, they brought in brigades to Fort Leonard Wood, we started wrapping our arms around that. And then the Air Force and all of these different branches. I mean, even the Coast Guard, the Navy's out of here. We have a Marine detachment. So over the past 20 years, I tell people I've learned 7 languages. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, Coast Guard, Space Force, and English.
Very nice.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, that need, especially with the way the military active forces go back to their base where their families are, and even when they deploy, the spouses are on that base still. So they have kind of a communal thing. Whereas the National Guard and reservists are just out in the middle of, the state, and they signed up for, a weekend a month, 2 weeks a year, and here now they're deploying for a year, and it was freaking out their spouses. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I remember when they started doing the blackouts, whenever there was an IED attack or something, but nobody told the spouses.
Yeah.
And here I'm getting phone calls. I haven't heard from my husband for a week, and he's normally emailing or calling me, and is he in that attack? And
Yeah, and I actually have several connections in the Guard and Reserve space, and a lot of times, even when they did deploy, they didn't deploy as a whole unit. They got broken up and attached even individually, they just one person would be with a whole. So then they come back and their unit would be reformed, and none of them had actually even served together downrange, because they were with all these other units, and that was traumatizing for some of them. Like they feel like they come home and they can't even connect with their own fellow service members because none of them experienced anything together, kind of thing.
And the FRG was never stood up because it was an individual augmentee that left.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
Well, let's be honest. There's been trouble with FRGs even in the active ranks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Well, both of my deployments, I got plucked out of my unit and I was attached elsewhere. So yeah, I didn't realize I could relate to that. But
that's where with the calls to the guardsmen that we're working on getting up and running is that when we call and we find out that they're about to deploy, we can then put them into a special care place, call their spouses, make sure that the conversations are going.
yeah.
When we had Ferguson here, our National Guard units had come back from their deployment. It had been 6 months and they got that unit called up. So here now they just got back from a war zone. Then they're going into Ferguson. They have to take off from their jobs again. And one of the guys we had to get him an emergency 24-hour leave from there because he was moving. And we talked to two men in a truck, one of the movers out here in St. Louis, and they volunteered and they picked up all of his stuff, moved him out. But it's all of these, who knows what happens to that one service member.
Yeah.
But when they know that they've got support and backing, they're mission focused, you get the resiliency, and you remove that suicidal ideation because they know they're not alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. So before we get down here to the end to close out, what's the name of the mission again? I want to make sure everybody caught that.
The Mission Depot.
The Mission Depot. And
it's under H.E.R.O.E.S care.
Okay. Do you have the address off the top of your head?
Yeah, 4558 Gravois Village Center, High Ridge, 63049.
And that's in the suburb of St. Louis, I guess?
We're correct.
Okay. So, I mean, it's just an amazing resource that I can't wait until you start to expand this. I think that's going to be absolutely huge. Yeah. And, before I hand it over to Keith here to take it out, I want to thank you for what you've done for our community. That's absolutely amazing. And I want you to reach out to me when you're getting ready to launch Secure Hope. I think we need to bring you back on to talk about Secure Hope and how that whole process is going to work. Because I think that's going to be a game changer to really get people the services they need. And I love what you're doing, man. Absolutely love it.
It's our way of saying thank you to all that have served, all that have done things that we've never done, and that we owe you so much. And this is just one way we can say thank you. If any of your viewers, listeners, if they have donated new product that they'd like to send, please get a hold of me. We never turn anything away as long as it's new.
And that's actually the perfect segue. So, as we do have to bring this to a close, and I want to thank you so much, John, for joining us. But how do these people get in touch with you? What's the best way for them to reach out?
The heroescare.org. They can contact it. It goes directly to me, president at heroescare.org. I keep things simple. If you want to rewind it, it's 314-799-1475 is my cell number. I answer it all the time. But any way that you can reach out to us, if you want to support the mission, if you want to help us expand, as we move into these other states, we're going to need people that have the heart just to say thank you to our service members and to help us find the right people to make this mission move forward.
Yeah. Oh, that's absolutely awesome. Yeah. So thank you so much, John, for coming on here and spreading this incredible message to our viewers and listeners. And then on behalf of the VET S.O.S family, we'd like to thank all of our viewers and listeners that are joining us today. Make sure to follow and subscribe to us on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms. And remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the VET S.O.S Lifeline.